All right, would you, Joel, join us please for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well, with that, I will call the Wednesday, July 24th, Select Board meeting of Town of Damariscotta to order. So we've got twice our regular crowd here tonight. So this is exciting. We are absent Josh Pinkham, who is at another, I think the kids keep winning the baseball game. So congratulations to them. We're not sure how long that's going to go, but they've got a heck of a streak going on. So we'll excuse him for his absence again this time. So a couple of things. We've got a few things on our agenda tonight, but looks like a lot, but I should be able to kind of cruise through them hopefully, right, Andy?
I can do it.
Throw too much stuff at us anyway. The minutes are tabled. We'll have those next meeting, correct? Yep. And I don't have any proposals for changing anything in the official action items or in the agenda right now. Everybody sees everything looks good at this point. Nothing added in it last minute. Maybe. Maybe there's something added in it.
Chief was hoping to have a few minutes early on.
It's not on the agenda. I don't think we can make, yeah.
Well, we're not
Would-
having,
Go through this again.
Before, so before we
We're not having minutes.
we move into financial reports and whatnot, I think the Chief Orlick has requested a few minutes of the board's time, and if it pleases the board, we could grant him that, you suppose? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, very brief. So this is going to be a two-part kind of a process, but I just wanted everybody to know that throughout the entire sergeant's process, Kyle was selected and officially took that position yesterday as a sergeant for the police department. I didn't think it was fair for you folks to see it on Facebook, right? So we wanted to make sure that before we made this public, the powers that be know. I'd like to do a second part of this after the fact, not today, but where maybe his daughter could come and pin that sergeant's badge on. And we could do
Absolutely,
something
yeah.
a little more official
Yeah.
here, let the media come and be a part of that. So today, literally, it's just a matter of introducing you. If you don't know Kyle Sylvester, Kyle's been with us for about 11 years. He started here out of Rockland, and Ron Young hired him. I didn't hire him, not that I wouldn't have, because I would have. But Kyle's been with us. He's been our night shift officer since his start here.
I said you did a
So
lot of
he's
lot of
not,
nights.
yeah, he's a vampire.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get out much during the day, but Kyle went through the entire process. We didn't circumvent, skip at all, just because it was an internal employee. He had to do everything that all the other applicants had to do. And he did it. He's been a dedicated, loyal employee, and he promises he's going to do the best he can. So I got a lot of faith in him, and I think we're going to be happy with him. So again, I just wanted you folks to hear it first, so that way you didn't see it on Facebook and go, hey, why don't we know? Shouldn't we know?
Yeah.
So that's it. So today, and then I'll get with Andy, and Andy will set something out to you folks
Official.
for, have the official one that his wife and kids and
Oh,
our
absolutely.
department and everything can be here as a whole. This was just more of we did it yesterday, so you folks should know. Good?
Awesome. Yeah.
That's
sounds
it.
good.
That's all I have. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we see you during the day once in a while now.
Maybe. We'll see. My eyes don't work too good today.
On a quick separate
See in the
note,
dark.
away from Kyle, I'll let you all know that the Pumpkin Fest Regatta this year, the main event for the regatta will be all the local area police chiefs are all going to be in the boats racing each other.
Oh, cool.
So it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, right now I've got 6. I'm hoping to have 10 police chiefs from all over the area. So
Well,
and
we
I'm
expect
gonna
big,
win.
we expect
I'm
big
gonna win.
things.
I'm gonna win. I'm winning. I don't need a big pumpkin. So thank you very much. We appreciate it all.
Congratulations, Kyle.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't forget your snacks.
Yeah. Yeah, don't forget your stuff. Yeah. Awesome. Well, good. All right. Well, that's a good surprise anyway. Position filled, so.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yep. We look forward to, doing it officially, have his kids come in and whatnot,
do
so.
we have to feel?
Yeah, maybe. I think they can shift something around with the part-timers and whatnot. but
Oh, okay.
They'll sort it out.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think move around internally right now,
Oh,
so.
okay.
Yeah, I think Chief plans on putting the open patrol spot out for advertising either by the end of this week or next.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll get
Yeah,
around
We
to-
still have one more to fill,
correct.
Yeah, still shifting stuff around.
but we have an important one filled.
We do.
Getting there. All right. Moving right along. We have everybody get a chance to look at the warrants. We had payroll warrant number 3 and accounts payable number 4. All right. I had 25 and 26 on there before that was wrong, so we just add a little bit.
That
So,
one says.
No.
yeah, that's what I read. That's the wrong number. Yeah,
26?
yeah,
Oh, it's not.
yeah, that's,
Oh,
that's exactly what I did, Andrea. Yeah.
Because we're only July. Uh-huh.
I'll make a motion, approve payroll warrant number 3.
Second.
I think I heard Andrea second. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right. Do I hear a motion on accounts
I'll make a
payable?
motion to
4?
approve accounts payable warrant number 4.
All right, thank you, Tom. I hear Dan, I think Dan seconded that. Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, so I see we paid Civic Plus.
We did.
Okay, so we're moving ahead.
We are. We're already scheduled to work on the mass notification with the hope of having that live in early September.
Okay,
For
great.
sure.
I think that's gonna be, yeah, that's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, all those in favor? All right, right along. Do we have any, I don't see anybody coming in on the big screen there. No hands raised. Any last minute correspondence or anything? Okay, we have a open citizens comment right now. If anybody out there wants to say anything? No, everybody's being quiet in the back row. All right, we'll move along. Andy's got his town manager report out to us. I think, just everybody got a chance to look it over and, Public Works has been busy and there's a lot of, a lot of stuff coming along. So want to hit some high points, Andy?
Yeah, just in the office, things are a little bit slower. We're been backfilling we're still have a worker out for Public Works, so trying to keep the excavator moving. John's running the excavator and I'm trying to help just keep him moving along. So just trucking material back to the garage. We've moved over to Back Meadow and Standpipe intersection and trying to clean that out. It's been years and years and years of sand buildup in there and trying to get water to flow where it's supposed to again. So things are moving along good there. So it does mean, again, things in the office are, for me, I'm not getting other things pumped out quite as fast. Pump out barge was emptied the first time so far this summer. Be nice to, I think in the next few years, we probably got to look at replacing that one. For now, it's fine, but
What's that compared to last year? I'm trying to remember how many times we pumped it out. It seems late in the season for a first pumping, doesn't it? Is that?
last year, the first one that we paid was in August last year.
Oh, it
There
was
must
that
have been one in early June or mid-June
Okay.
probably. So it would have been then later than last year
Yeah,
in that
okay,
case.
a little bit later then. All right.
It was down for about a week and a half. The hand pump wasn't working.
Okay.
Right.
We've swapped that out with another one, but
Yeah.
took a little while.
How much does it cost us to pump it up?
In a year, I think it's about $2,500. Depends how many times they have to do it, but it's about $2,500, I believe, to have it pumped out in total.
And taxes pay for that.
We have been fortunate in the past to have grant funds from the state to help maintain and pay for that.
Yeah.
The last couple of years, I don't think we've seen that. And so Cheryl's been continuing to
Okay.
work with them. She continues to submit the payments and the requests. And so she's continuing to try and work that angle. But otherwise, yes, it would be the taxpayers if that doesn't get refunded.
And do the people that use it have to pay a fee?
They do not.
It's provided by the,
So do we share that cost with Newcastle or is it just? on us?
In the last, when the grant state pays for it, we haven't sought that out from them. So in the last couple of years, we're still hoping we can get the reimbursement, but if not, and going forward, if we don't continue to get that, then that kind of becomes a question and kind of came up when we
Yeah.
were talking about the harbor ordinance. I feel
Right.
like,
Sure.
the
Yeah.
cost of the harbor ordinance management, now whether it falls on that, it's a benefit for both, for both towns and all users of the river. So might be something they'd be willing to entertain splitting the cost of.
I'm sure
Yeah.
they would.
Yeah.
Or they better.
Hopefully when it needs to be replaced, we can also find some grant money for that as well. But again, a few more years, hopefully.
Yep.
EV charging station. I had a conversation yesterday with someone from Revision. As far as they and I understand, the parts that we need are still back ordered. We did get talking about some of the grant opportunities that are out there. He's going to send me a proposal. Probably take until the next meeting to get that. Their engineers need to work through it. But they're suggesting that we consider replacing the failed ones with some networked meaning we could charge for the use, and adding more than just 2 plugs to make use of we need to do at least 4 if we want to use the grant funds. And then because of a federal tax credit, there's kind of a happy or a sweet spot with, what our contribution might need to be. And he was proposing as many as 8, to take full advantage of those credits. So I'll have a more full proposal at the next meeting, Lord willing.
And we're okay. I don't remember the language of the first grant there, whether or not we could, we couldn't take it out of service, but as far as charging.
Yeah,
for
what
it.
he's telling me is that this grant round allows us to replace existing ports
With okay.
that have failed
Yeah,
or
so
aren't
we wouldn't be at
working.
any
So
risk of putting one in and saying, "Wait, we want our grant money back from 3 or 4 years ago." Okay, yeah, it'd be nice to have it pay for itself a little bit.
So hopefully more on that, but something to think of or look forward to at the next meeting.
Parking lot project.
The parking lot project, and we had another work group meeting. There was some talk about amongst the group members of, there's a question about whether there'd be a shuttle service, and I just reiterated that at the first stakeholder meeting we had, that was shot down pretty quickly, and folks didn't think others would use it. The sites that we're looking at are frankly pretty close. And so hadn't at this point planned on reopening that.
When's the next meeting for that?
Next Monday.
Next Monday. Okay.
There was some talk about trying to get some kind of later evening activities, or early evening activities for the retail. Retail kind of closes around 5, 6 o'clock, and there was some talk about maybe trying to get, tack on to the folks coming out to dinner and, and kind of liven things up a little bit on Main Street with maybe some lights, or someone had mentioned maybe an art walk here and there. Of course, the week around Pumpkin Fest, you get the pumpkins out after that weekend, or about another week that they'll stay out, and we know that draws people. So they're trying to see other ways to kind of extend the normal working hours to bring people in as well.
So they might open later and stay open later.
It's something
Yeah.
that they're talking about. Yeah. The groups mentioned it. Some of the business members in that group have said that they'd be willing to. They just want to reach out to others to see if more retail would stay open.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Provided you what Chief Roberts had sent in for the OSHA rule changes. I know some of you had stayed at the fire meeting a couple weeks ago and heard some of those discussion points. Reading his full comments, kind of eye-opening. If all goes through as proposed, how he envisions that impacting our department. And
Yeah.
It's huge.
And neighboring departments and.
I read the
mutual
whole
aid.
thing and it
It's
is,
got to be similar around the state.
Yeah,
There's a lot of volunteer
Right.
fire departments.
but OSHA is federal. It's
Yeah,
under
right.
the
Oh, yeah.
Department
It's-
of Labor, so.
Yeah.
there's thousands of services like ours across the country that are
Yeah.
all going to have to figure out what this means.
Every
Right.
volunteer for whole department. Yeah.
Well, are we,
We have somebody on the screen.
Hey.
Sort of.
well, are we like reaching out to like Cameron Rennie, Lydia Kraft?
I'm not certain. It's it's a federal rule change. So there's just a
Right.
public process that goes through with that. And it's not a political thing. It's just an agency rule.
Right?
Our state, federal delegates have commented and submitted comments. out of
Oh,
concern.
federal. Okay, so we've gone to like King and Pingree and
We haven't, but they've
but
submitted
OSHA,
comments,
our
as part of the process.
Maine
So
has.
folks have gone to them and they're aware of the challenge and concerns
Yeah.
Okay.
departments have.
Okay,
So the timing is still a little uncertain though, right? Because there's a comment period and then the agency then has to consider those comments and make
Right.
and respond in any way they seem
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So
appropriate. So
if I haven't heard it's been extended, it was extended, I think, twice, at least once, if not twice. So which was great. So we still got our comments in. But yeah, they'll have to review all of those, decide if there's changes to the rules based on those comments. If there are, I think they got to put it back out.
Yeah.
If there are no changes, then they'd go through the agency's final process to get it approved. And then implementation, I think he had laid out was anything from like 6 months to 2 months to 2 years, I think.
2 years, yes.
yeah. Yeah.
So there's some time on some of the items, but still not enough on most.
And And just the cost, just prohibitive.
Yeah,
And he said there were people that wouldn't even be able to qualify as firemen
Right.
1 and 2,
Right.
and we would
Yeah, some huge impacts. with
lose
the-
huge
with the-
impacts.
with the rewriting the rules, yeah. So, I think, yeah, the chief, we can address this a little bit here, but it's a very comprehensively written, it's, yeah.
Mhm.
It's the right person to write it up.
He did a good job in
Yeah,
outlining everything.
It was a
So,
lot of eye-opening stuff in there with, when you put the numbers down and
right,
see where it actually affects, So not just, I mean, it all ends up financially affecting, but, in services in general, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
and the website's on track to
Yeah, we're emphasizing or focusing in on the mass notification system first, and then the website build. There's some things on the back end that are going, but we're focusing primarily on that. That's a 2-month process. The website and then the C-Click Fix kind of module that we bought into, those will launch later, early in 2025. By the time we get through all of that process, so hoping we can get it in maybe before budget season, just so because that'll slow us down in finishing it out. So that's kind of the hope, is we can get it done before we get into the budget season.
okay. That'd be great.
I know around the election cycle, we're gonna have another slowdown. Becky's my second point on that, lead on that. So there's about a 2 or 3 week period over a month's time where she kind of has to focus on the election.
Right.
Big one this year. So,
Right.
yeah, so we're trying to work around the internal calendar and try and keep it moving.
Mhm.
Work in progress.
I guess this is my last question for you. I don't know if now's the right time. You mentioned in your cover letter talking about putting off the assessors meeting to get information from the assessor, and maybe a
Yes.
meeting next week.
Mhm.
Does that still make sense? And
Yes,
any
thanks.
update to that?
Thanks for bringing that up. I did connect with him today, this afternoon. He was verifying some of the TIF numbers. So the original assessed value, when we first entered the TIF program, we capture any new building. So Camden National Bank was like the building that got finished.
Right.
There was some personal property I think he was verifying. So I think he's done that since we've talked. But because you didn't have a chance to review it ahead of time, I didn't know we'd talk today. So I just said, let's not try and
Right.
force it in front of you. It's frankly there's some numbers there to consider and think about, and want to get it out to the end of the week so you have a chance to review it before. So I was proposing Tuesday.
Okay.
And we can
The 30th?
we can decide later, but I'd proposed Tuesday instead of Wednesday, not knowing if we would need to entertain a special town meeting, given another agenda item being the winter maintenance contract. And if we did need to do a special town meeting, if we met on Tuesday, we'd be able to post it Wednesday morning and
Okay.
comply with the
Yep.
7-day
Oh,
notice.
Yep.
Oh,
Try
and
get
have the
that done
town
as quick as
meeting on the
possible.
7th?
Possibly.
Okay.
But we can decide
Okay.
that later in the agenda.
Okay.
All right. Sounds
Either
good.
way, you gotta do the commitment. I don't know if you want to wait till the 7th for the tax commitment to have him meet with you and do the commitment. Or if you wanted to try and do it in between.
On Tuesday, the 30th?
Well, we haven't
the
determined whether
assessor?
we need a special meeting or
We have
not.
not yet.
So we probably wouldn't know that until we met on the 30th, right? And talked about it.
You'll know that today, once we
Okay.
get to the agenda item about the winter plow,
Got
Okay,
it.
winter
Okay.
maintenance.
okay.
Okay.
And then you can decide whether you want to just wait till the 7th when you meet again regularly, or if you are having a special town meeting, if you want to do it as part of that.
Do everything then.
We can discuss that. All right.
Okay.
I will, I spoke to Cern earlier. I know we do have some folks waiting. I'm assuming.
Yes,
Amy,
we
you
do.
probably want to get back to the restaurant and get some folks back here. So a few more things on the official action items. I would propose that we move the liquor license renewals up,
Yes.
and then the winter maintenance bids up as well. Is that okay with everybody? Unless everybody want to wait till the end. I don't, we can keep, yeah. All right, I get a head nod. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
So we do have King Otter's Pub, we have Barn Door Baking, and then River Grill are all up for just annual renewals here. But there's no questions on them. I'll make a motion to move all three as proposed. Sound good?
Second.
Okay, Tom, give me a second. Any discussion?
No.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay, so we're good. And when
Tomorrow,
tomorrow?
noontime,
Yep.
anytime afternoon. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you guys so
Yeah,
much.
no problem. We'll
Appreciate it.
keep you waiting. Even though
Thank you for being open.
all right, awesome.
Tim, any
And
questions? No, sorry. See Tim on the phone, on the call there.
I do see somebody on the.
I'm all set. Thank you, guys. All right.
Just watching in. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get back. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Awesome. Yeah, and if we can move up the winter maintenance bid results.
Entertainment
If we
license.
wanna,
Okay.
yeah, we can, let's do the maintenance bids because there's nobody here. Nobody here waiting on that one. So,
For the maintenance bid?
no, for the maintenance, yes. We'll come back to the entertainment license.
Okay.
But we'll do number 7 here, winter
Okay.
maintenance bid results. So if we go to page, where are we here?
No, I didn't number them.
Close to the end.
Close to the end,
Yep.
big old packet here
Yep.
stuff. Holy moly. All right. Okay, so Nancy's got a cover sheet here for pretty close to the end. 4 pages back, maybe from the end. So winter maintenance bid results. All right. We had two bids.
Yeah, I try to summarize those there. The Clinic Foundation had put a bid in for both contracts and Cowan Property Maintenance for just the road contract. The year one price on the low bid was 280,000 for the roads and 175 for the downtown contract. You see there on the cover sheet, the budgeted amounts for this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's higher than we had budgeted. So
Mhm.
now 2-part, I don't know which part you want to cover first, the accepting, one of the bids and then figuring out how you want to tackle the increased cost.
Yeah.
Well, we have to have both parts covered.
Right.
We have options for covering the cost.
I tried to, when I got back in the office today, tried to work through
Got some
how we
carryover,
could do that. I
some
gave a
carry
few
forward.
options there, bottom of the page, your FY24 carry forward. I did give you another sheet this evening, after
Yes.
working through, and look and see line by line of Public Works where what we appropriated for this year,
Yeah.
what the estimated balance at the end of the fiscal year of 24 was. See, there's 108,000 unspent on last year's budget. When the voters approved Public Works, it also includes cemetery and Biskie Beach.
Yeah.
So when you take those into account, there's about just over $90,000 in Public Works as it's voted. That was unspent. That's that 9705.54.
Gotcha.
Okay.
There are a few things that we either missed in the budgeting, like the health reimbursement account. We
Mhm.
offer an HRA to the employees that have health insurance, and so we cover a portion of their deductible with the HRA. And so I didn't realize that we paid for that out of the health insurance line, because we were kind of overestimating, not sure if an employee status would change during the year. We tightened that up this year.
Mhm.
And then, started funding the reserve to help cover the gap in the middle of the year. So I didn't account for the HRAs. So you'll see that on the FY24 carry forward requests for all the departments that have staff with health insurance. So about $4,000 would be needed to bring forward to cover that. We still hadn't gotten the bathroom addition done at the garage.
Yeah.
Had one lined up, then they backed out, and then I have another one I think lined up, but when I checked in with them a couple weeks ago, they had forgotten about coming. So still trying to pin that down, to see if they're gonna do that. So I was hoping to carry forward some funds to do that. If we go over the amount that I'm looking at there, we do have the facility reserve that we
Mhm.
could utilize.
Okay.
We didn't get to the tree removal as we had hoped. We had planned on bringing the company in to do some aerial,
Right.
canopy clearing over the roadways.
Right.
Hadn't done that, was hoping to bring forward money to do that, and was gonna pair it with the 16,000 we had appropriated for this year. And just, my hope was to get like all of Lesnar Road done. When we had marked out the trees, we were looking at 60 or 70 trees. And figured that 15,000 isn't gonna cover
No.
it, so.
No way.
Was hoping that we'd get a little bit closer and get a good chunk of it done with pairing 2 years worth of tree work.
Yeah.
So you see it in the columns down there, at a 722 is when I sent out the packet, I believe.
Mhm.
And that's what I had proposed, was carrying forward that. And then what I'm proposing today, a little bit less for the bathroom, carrying forward nothing for Keenwood's design work. We can
Mhm.
utilize our reserve for that. Heater Road improvements, pulled that down a little bit. And then trying to bringing forward $40,000 for winter maintenance. So that'd be a full carry forward of 90,500 from the unspent public works budget last year. If you go back to the top of the page,
Wait a
that
second, the heater road went up. Is that the right number?
Heater Road went from 17.5 to 15, as I'm suggesting.
Oh, what's the next one then?
Winter maintenance went from 20 to
Oh, I
40.
got that. Okay, line. Yeah, line.
yeah.
If you go back to the top of the page,
Yeah, I got it.
the right-hand column there, FY25 alt expenditure is what I called it.
Mhm.
That's my proposal to try and shift
Mhm.
cost centers, within the public works budget.
Within
from
the
what we had
zone
talked
budget,
about.
yeah.
And
Okay.
we would, a big chunk of it coming from general contractor services. That was us trying to be proactive and getting some things done, ditching primarily,
Mhm.
and just pulling back on that a little bit. Some of it we could potentially do in-house through renting,
Yeah.
as we're doing now,
Okay.
at a lower rate or lower cost to us. Pulling down again the tree work, another 16,000. So I think if you're comfortable, I believe we could use the carry forward and not hire out as much as we had anticipated
Yeah.
for
Shift it within
next
the
year
department. So to cover
to
that.
cover the
that
cost without needing a special town meeting.
$85,000 balance. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So you're advocating option one here, right?
Combination. I mean, it's option one, using some carry forward, not needing to do a special town meeting. And then I hadn't at the time when I wrote that thought about
yeah. You're shifting
appropriating our
appropriated funds within the department.
public works or highway budget.
Yeah.
Again, we would just not hire out as much work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you,
Okay.
can you talk about number 4 option just for a second? Because I was trying to think what that would look like and what that would mean for the town.
Option 4 being that we review the option that the town provide or perform the downtown contract. I mean, with any contract for service, there comes a point where, you might feel you can perform as well, or you can do it at the same price or less for cost savings. I'm not certain we're there right now, given especially how close we are to winter.
It was a contingency plan if all else failed.
That would include both equipment and people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And a very different level of service from what we've been accustomed to. With what we'd be looking to add. So I mean, I had considered and looked at some of that and had run some numbers with the equipment, what we would need to produce for equipment, I feel is generally readily available for downtown. It's some smaller things. If you're buying new, you could lease or rent things for the winter season. If you bought new, there's some fantastic options for financing, 0% financing for equipment on some of these things for 3 or 4 year periods. So I thought you could at least spread the cost out over a longer period. So an annual expense we wouldn't have to be doing all at once.
So we're talking about just doing the road contract and doing the downtown ourselves.
That's not what we're,
talking
well,
about?
currently that's what we're talking about, but that was
Not as
just an option I threw on there. I don't
Right.
think we're in a position to do that.
It doesn't
Okay.
sound like it's very practical at the.
So we really
Okay.
need to have both done. Okay.
I would, I mean, we have two contractors that bid for this. We have, and one of the contractors has bid for both the downtown and the road contract. And it's also the lowest bid there as far as the road contract is concerned. So, I mean, I'd be inclined at this point to award that contract to, McClintock Foundation and go into that three-year contract with them. So, I mean, I feel right now, and then where we have yes, unfortunately, it's over what we budgeted for, but you're able to pull it out of the department and reappropriate, I guess not probably the right word for it. That's a negative connotation. We reappropriated funds. So don't quote me on that. But and we can make it work. Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah.
my thoughts anyway.
The only thing to note on the bid from McClintock, he had written in if fuel goes over $5.50 a gallon, the town pays the extra. We didn't have anything in our contract that calling for, the last one we had did have a escalator and de-escalator.
Right. Yeah.
For fuel, as well as salt pricing. We didn't continue that with this contract.
Yeah.
We didn't advertise.
Yeah,
or
that-
talk
that
about having
escalator.
something like this in there.
Not in there. Okay.
Just noting that that's on there and
Is that diesel?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we could accept the bid, but when the contract hasn't been signed yet, so
Right.
there's still gotta
Mhm.
get hashed out, but
What's
Yeah.
the diesel price now? It's probably around 5.50, isn't it?
it's $4,
Really?
4.50, 4.25. Yeah.
Don't you know?
Yeah, I know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. What is it?
459.9. Anywhere
well,
between
it's
429.9,
diesel.
459.9.
Okay, that's what-
Yeah, yeah. So, okay.
Off this road, it's what?
Yeah, I don't know. It should be a little bit cheaper. Yeah, it's usually 20 cents or so. Yeah. So and they have a different pricing module out there, as you know. So yeah. So
He's got to pay for lunch.
yeah. So that's something that could be hashed out before the final contract signed, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm inclined, can I make this motion? I'm trying to remember. These are two separate contracts.
Mhm.
Can I combine them or do I have to, I'm trying to remember how we're going to accept the bid on both?
I mean, where it's the same contractor, I think you could word it in a way to award. both-
Yeah,
both
one
the
motion
road
for
and the
two
downtown
contracts.
Contract to the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'll make a motion, to, award the road contract and the downtown contract, to McClintock Foundation Incorporated, as presented for the three-year term for both.
That's what we had asked for. Yep.
Yeah. So that makes sense. All right. Do I have a second?
Sure.
Dan's going to second that. Any other discussion while we're in there?
Nope.
Yeah. And if there's any, okay.
No,
Thank-
and
Thank
there
you.
was a preference as well for both of them together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for continuity and having,
Well, plus we
One-
have no way to
Yeah.
Yeah.
do the other one.
one,
And there were
one,
some questions that came up. The two in the back were also the only two that came to the pre-bid
Mhm.
meeting.
Yeah.
But questions about, salt, like if there were two different contractors that we were utilizing the same piles of material, salt
Right.
material.
Mhm.
Who would have priority? How do we keep track?
right. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
reason why one contractor
Yeah,
is
it's
better
preferable to
than-
have-
than the
have-
two. We would have figured it out, but
Yeah.
it would have been a
Okay.
tracking thing that we'd had to keep all winter otherwise.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it just makes sense if we can get the funding moved around. So. All right. Well, there's a motion, there's a second. I will call for a vote. All those in favor? All right, before Josh is not here. So, okay. So we've, board's voted to approve McClintock Foundation's, road and downtown contract for 3 years. So now it's a matter of getting through the contract and all that fun stuff and shoveling snow. Oh, all right. What's the next step for, with the contractor at this point? You need to
I'll
finalize
reach-
stuff and meet
we'll
with them.
coordinate to get together and just go through the contract and get that signed and get going.
All right. And we all set there? We can move on. I think we've sorted out
So.
the funding side of it anyway, so. Oh, no, you gotta stay till the end. We just go- I'd run if I were you at this point. So thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. Appreciate it. Yeah. So, okay. All right. Well, that's good. I was mostly concerned about the downtown side of it, so we've got an option for doing the downtown and the roads, so. All right, well, let's get back on track here. I skipped around a little bit, so we'll go back to official action items and we'll start from the beginning and hit the ones we didn't do yet. So we do have a fire station reserve request. I've lost track of what pages are on, but maybe give us a quick briefing on that again. There's some repairs.
Chief had shared this with me, I think the day of the last meeting, so I forgot to bring it up.
Mhm.
And so he's hoping to see the backflow prevention device replaced.
Mhm.
This is at the station.
Right.
It was tested this year in April and had failed the testing. So we need to get that repaired.
Okay.
He's provided a proposal here from New England Backflow Incorporated for 3530. He'd like to utilize the fire station reserve, building reserve, to pay for this, as it's not something he budgeted in his
Okay.
operating. And given the amount of money and how low he keeps the budget,
Yeah.
just doesn't feel
Mhm.
comfortable trying to use it out of that, so.
It's a necessary repair as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are they requesting just the exact number, the 3530?
I'd probably recommend
Yours.
up to 4, just in case there's something extra that comes in, or
Okay, yeah.
I'd give him a little flexibility if
I
he
didn't
needed.
see the number there, so, okay. All right, I'll make a motion to approve up to $4,000 out of the fire station reserve request for repair or service of the backflow prevention as presented in the proposal.
Second.
All right, thank you, Tom. And any more discussion?
No.
All those in favor? All right. I thought we'd be sitting around talking about backflow prevention things, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
I had to look up what that was.
Things are coming along, so, all right, Francis Perkins. Francis Perkins Homestead.
I first have to say, Andy, thank you so much for writing this letter.
I'm
You're
telling you,
welcome.
I've already told you.
Awesome. I don't know who wrote it, but
He
you
wrote-
authorized it, whether
He
you
wrote
did
this
it or
sincerely,
someone else, did, but
and
it is,
in the back and left.
so what? He got you, you know,
Your writing style is different.
It's different.
but it got done.
But your point is,
My point
things are
is-
moving along.
That's that in the minutes. When he does the minutes, we should get that style.
I know, my point is he made it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
no,
it's a
that's-
very, very
winner.
important thing.
Yeah, it's a winner.
Yeah.
I
I
just
am-
went to a meeting with the director. She had shared their interest and desire to try and get their site declared
Sure.
a national monument, which would offer a very different funding model
Yeah,
to
great.
maintain facility
Yeah,
and keep
facility,
keep
yeah.
the history preserved there. So
So what's
Yeah.
the brand of the wine? Yeah.
Hawaiian. So the letter mostly drafted by them, just to help orient us to who they are, what they're trying to accomplish. And they had reached out to us, Newcastle. They've got some support from federal delegates to try and shepherd this through. And yeah, I mean, I think it could be a really
It'd be great for the area.
Oh,
great
yeah.
designation and
Yeah,
help for the
Sure,
area.
sure.
Absolutely.
As
And
far
it's
as,
a wonderful facility.
I've never been there, I hate to say it. I
Awesome.
embarrassed
Well,
that
because I
event.
teach history
Yeah.
and I teach her,
Yeah.
and was a woman.
Where is it?
Go check it out.
Where is it?
I don't
You get
remember.
to-
Right on River Road.
River Road.
Yeah, it's right, it's brick
Oh,
building.
wait,
Yeah.
no, yeah, I've seen the sign. That's right.
Yeah.
Where- So we're looking for Damariscotta support, right? Or
Yes.
from this. So where's Newcastle at with this right now? Have they?
I think they met Monday. I haven't asked Kevin
Already-
if they've approved it, but I'm assuming they did.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
And he may have just sent it in himself with just his name on there. I'm sharing it because it's timely and you do have it and
Yeah. Yeah.
we haven't talked
I
about.
mean, I think that
it much ever, really.
town would pledge
Great.
support on it. I just want to make sure that if Newcastle's on board, because this isn't their town.
Right.
So,
Right.
so,
Yeah. that's-
so
But I'm sure our town would.
what I guess
Anyone that takes US history at Lincoln Academy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, I would make a motion to support it. Make sure Newcastle's on board as first.
That part of the motion.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
would definitely-
I'll make a motion, yes, that the town of Damariscotta should support the steps, what am I trying to say? I'm rambling here now. The letter of support on the condition that Newcastle's on board with it as well.
Yeah, or otherwise Kevin will say, what's all this traffic down here?
That makes sense.
They definitively, they are.
Yeah, I'm assuming they would be.
Thank you for that.
But-
insight. So we don't need to,
I like to, yeah.
I trust him.
You got your paper on it there, so-
Just to protect the
Yeah.
innocent.
Motion, just need a second before we, Dan's gonna second. So, yes, I'm assuming they would be on board for it, but I just, you gotta go through, the steps, right?
We don't want to step on their
Awesome.
toes.
All right, all those in favor of, yeah, okay, it's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where I can't imagine they wouldn't be okay with it, but. All right, the MMA LPC ballot. That's the one here, right?
is this an annual? Oh, this is for 2 years.
2 years.
It's always, I always get,
Okay.
So that's
Please
nice
come
that
through
Tor
and-
stepped up and volunteered. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, they had Tom, I think, was on previously representing Newcastle.
oh, okay.
Board. Sarah was on there as their manager, and then she resigned. Tom had stepped up to
Tom,
do
yeah.
it, and Tor's interested in
It was like Dora's interested. in that.
continuing representing the area.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So do we as a town, we need to select two or vote for two? Is that, I can't remember.
You
these
do
things
have
come
that
around for
right.
years. What's that?
You do have that right.
I do. All right. I read them.
So
Definitely looking
this
for
is,
Tor.
this was my thinking about it. Tour for sure.
I know,
Yeah,
I
Because I know
Yeah.
him.
know
and it-
Tor, we all know Tor, and as long as Newcastle's on board with it.
Yeah,
And
Sure
again,
they
I
are.
was thinking, somewhere in here, it indicated what the district is.
Meaty,
It's
meaty,
really-
miny, mo.
It's almost, it's like all Lincoln County.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
It is.
so I don't know if there's a theory about coastal communities and then inland communities.
Mhm.
There's only one person here from an interior community. The others I always view as coastal.
Right.
Wisconsin,
Wisconsin,
Waldeboro,
Waldeboro, and Somerville's, and yeah.
But honestly, I don't
I-
know the gentleman from Somerville, but if it was
I,
the interest of interior Lincoln County.
I got you.
versus-
Yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah.
Once again, I don't feel strongly, but that was just a thought.
Yeah, so the same thing, Tor's the only one that, I mean, we know,
He's the
we know
only guy.
Tor, we worked with Tor.
He's the only guy I know personally.
Town next door, it seems kind of an easy one.
Yeah.
And after that, do you know any of the other candidates?
I do not.
You know, help. We asked the paper.
No,
Daryl.
well, deadline is August 1st. Maybe we can do a little research on this.
Oh, I think
We've
we should
got,
just make a choice. We need-
Waldeboro, I think, yeah, I know what you're saying.
I like Dan's I like Dan's
Okay.
idea that
It's
we have
just
a
a thought.
So it would
coasted
narrow it, it would
internal.
narrow it down to Pamela Dunning and Robert Butler, Wisconsin and
No,
Waldeboro.
Well, we only can do two, so.
We
it
only
would
need
be-
two
That's what I mean,
Tor.
narrow it down between those two. We have Tor.
No,
we have
I was
choose.
thinking the guy from Somerville,
From Somerville.
because he'd be interior.
Oh,
Lincoln
I got
County.
you. You were going the other way with it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I
as
misunderstood. All right.
opposed to,
Yep,
So a coastal and an interior person.
that was just. a
I
thought,
got
but
you.
mean,
I
once
misunderstood
again, I
what
don't
you
know-
were
Once
saying.
again,
Yep.
I don't know any of these.
No, I think, I mean, they all, if you read the short bios, I mean, they've all served and,
Yeah, and it's great that they're all interested, so.
they're all
Mhm.
kind of, all been involved with stuff. So really it's, yeah. So Dan, you're proposing, Donald Whitmer Keen and Tor Glendenning.
I am just based upon that theory, but.
Yep, so, well, I tell you, if you make a motion on that, it'll probably get seconded and we might.
All right, I'll make a motion to support Tor Glendenning and Donald Whitmore Keene,
All right, I'll
Somerville.
second that. Any more discussion?
That's
Okay,
fine.
hearing none,
No,
all
no, we're
those in
not.
favor?
You want to wait?
Well, I'd like to think we want to pick the best candidate as in terms of experience, qualifications and interest. And I don't know enough about, just looking at that, this fellow Robert Butler looks like he's got a lot of experience and could be probably more impactful. And certainly we look at the Donald Whitmer Keene from Somerville, it's not a lot there compared. I don't know, I think it's, quality and experience to me should be the criteria, but.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. It's
And remember, we're not the only ones voting.
Here we are.
Mm.
How many others?
I think every town.
All-
every
every
single
town.
These towns?
Yeah, these towns get.
All those towns are voting. There's like 20 towns that
Oh,
are
yeah, I
also
see.
So if we
voting.
want to wait,
Yeah,
we've got a motion, a second, we're in discussion, so we could do a couple of things. If the board would rather wait, we
Well,
can.
I agree that
Motion
the
down.
Donald Whitmer Keene's, if you call this a resume or whatever you want to call it, is thin. But
I mean, all things being equal, I would agree with it. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, but,
he served 5 years in another state. Okay.
I mean, if you're looking at the comments, Pamela's comments are pretty good.
Yeah, well,
to the
First one,
top
Pamela
one.
Dunning.
So why don't we do this? So it needs to be in by what, August? First, right? But when's
Um,
date
we got
today?
another meeting.
We've got another meeting.
24th, yeah.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
We don't have another
No, we
meeting.
don't.
Well,
Well,
we haven't decided that yet.
Wait,
Yeah.
okay, maybe we
We
don't.
don't have another meeting.
No, because it's gonna be in by next week.
No, we're not gonna have a meeting.
No.
Right.
We just decided that.
Right.
We're gonna do something.
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
Our-
but we don't have
our
another
next
meeting. So
meeting
it'd
is
be,
the
all right,
7th.
so we do need to either have come back and have a meeting. So right now we
That's
have,
all right. I'm gonna abstain. You guys can vote.
it's, the points are all valid.
No.
I
So let's,
agree.
let me call for a vote. We've got,
Could we
Yeah, I
vote for
gotta
just
call for a
one?
vote.
I
Vote for one
agree.
and, because we don't know the
We-
other three.
we have a motion and a second for Donald Whitmer Keene, sorry, and Tor Glendenning right now. I'll call for a vote.
I'm
All
definitely
those-
for tour, so.
Yeah. So all those in favor of Dan's motion, I'll.
Sure. Well, can we vote for Tor twice?
I don't know. I don't think we can vote twice and yet. So, all right. That's,
We need 2 people.
No.
Tom, are you gonna abstain or are you
Yeah, I'm
gonna?
gonna abstain.
Okay, so Tom's gonna abstain on that one. So,
Okay.
all right. So we'll put that in. Okay. All right, the carry forward requests, Sandy, that was. That's. And we'll start signing those. We'll get them start moving around here. So. All right, Andy, we have carry forward.
There are quite a few.
Yep. Let me get, apologize, I keep losing my page in the. Losing my page in here. There we go. All right, where do we want to start?
The general government, as it was approved at town meeting, includes a few departments. In the way the
Okay.
charter reads, the select board on advice of the manager by a majority vote carry forward unexpended general fund appropriations as deemed appropriate to the same department for the next fiscal year. So though these are approved in kind of these buckets, like what we talked about with the highway, we worked within the highway to carry it forward. We're talking about carrying it forward to the highway. We wouldn't be taking the unspent highway to Biskie Beach. Right. And so same up here with the admin, the proposal is to carry forward 10,000 from the admin from last year's unexpended into this year to cover the HRA payments.
Yeah.
I had mentioned I didn't realize that we had taken them out of the health insurance line as we do. And then with planning, same thing. There's one staff member there. 10,000 for comp plan implementation. So I don't know that it's 100% certain that we don't need to bring in the consultant still. The going through review of comments, and I'm not sure if Dan or Andrea, but I think there's still some things to work on with that we didn't put in our budget this year. The reserve, I think, is down.
Okay.
Spent down. So this would allow us to continue that effort through a vote, presumably this fall. Get maps printed, get whatever we need to help roll this thing out. The CAG, that's the Community Action Grant. So we did get notice that our Community Action Grant was approved. That
Mm.
was to do some insulation work at the fire station,
Oh,
lighting
that's right.
upgrades
Yep.
at here and at the fire station. And so that 1825 would be our financial contribution to it. And
Mhm.
it was awarded a little bit later than anticipated, so asking to carry that forward. Municipal building repairs, we had a line item in there last year and we did do some work on the doors. Frankly, it
Mhm.
didn't fix them. There were just some simple repair works that they were
Mhm.
trying to do on there. My hope is that we can at least get one door replaced with that money. The one back for the staff come in and out of, we literally kind of kick it open, if it closes all the way. Not safe, it's just waiting for an injury. That
Right.
said, the double doors out here have a hard time at times. They get fetched up and so we need to do something more significant with these,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And what we tried before wasn't enough. So asking for 10,000 for the municipal building to be carried forward. The police department, similar on the HRA, the health insurance, asking to carry forward 20 grand from last year on that. When we budgeted this year, we didn't anticipate the opening. And the individual that had previously filled the position had a buyout, didn't use our insurance, and so we budgeted for the buyout again. And so if someone
Right.
comes in with a family plan, that would be about a $20,000 shift. So proposing that we bring that in so we have that without needing to call for a special town meeting. It's
Mhm.
more than our contingency account, so.
Right.
And then with the new position that's now open for patrol, that'll have to be someone who's not currently on staff. So
Yeah.
Right.
they'll need to be outfitted with gear and in uniform, again, something we didn't anticipate. And they do have the unspent balance. So proposing 39.5 to be carried forward for police. In public safety, the hydrant account was, we budgeted for an increase. There wasn't one. There's discussions amongst the trustees at the moment for an increase now. For water, there's also was one for sewer, which we weren't aware of during the budget cycle.
Okay. Yeah.
But the water one's a little more significant. It's been quite a while since I've done a water rate increase. There's been discussion that it's with the PUC and in the rules that there's I think a minimum and a maximum rate that can be assessed for fire hydrants, and it's relative to the revenue they bring in. And I'm being told that what it has been is too low. And so there's a bunch of factors in there. I don't know what we're looking at yet for
Yeah.
water rates. They'll be going through public discussion on that, have been, and will continue, and there'll be a public hearing at some point on the rates. I'm assuming later this fall. But they're aiming to try and get that implemented for the new calendar year. So proposing we bring forward just about everything we can for that one and hope it's enough. It's a big, 157 is what we budgeted last year. I think we went down to 151 this year, not thinking there'd be an increase. So it's a big lift, and any kind of significant increase on that, we're gonna see it. Gonna
Yeah.
notice it.
All right.
Highway, we've talked about same dollar amount, but a little bit slightly different than what I had outlined there earlier this week, to try and accommodate the snowplow pricing. So a total carry forward request of $169,825. That would leave the unspent balance at 88,713.75. So that goes to the undesignated fund balance, of which we were bringing forward 150 into this year's budget. So we're able to utilize some of the unspent, and had to dip a little bit deeper into the overall balance from previous years.
All right. Sounds good. Any, have any questions for Andy on carry forward? Straightforward.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the requested carry forward amount of $169,825.
Second.
Tom's gonna second. Okay. Any more discussion? All right. All those in favor? Or okay, that moves along. Yeah, moving money.
Andy, why do you think what we budgeted for the snow was significantly less than what the bids came in as?
We used I had recommended using the amount from the renegotiated contract from
Right.
just 2 years ago, and thinking
Right.
that was a
Fair.
rate per mile that was, I thought, kind of like what was going.
Right.
Newcastle had is considering their road contract. I think it came in a little bit less per mile than what we're looking at. Ours per mile came out to about 13,000
Okay.
for the roads. So I don't have a nice list of all the towns around us that contract and how it compares to what they have, but it was a little bit more than we.
Nice if it came in the same.
It's mind-boggling because we have so little snow now.
Mhm.
Versus how many years ago when we had feet and feet and feet? How much did we pay then?
This is for the future. We don't know what the future
Yeah, it
brings.
goes in cycles.
Yeah, well,
Well, and in some way, the snow's a little easier to treat than the ice and the rain and
Well,
snow
that's
with rain at
true.
the end. And I mean, it's just you're still out there, even though you're not feet deep on snowbanks, you're still out there treating the roads.
Service levels have changed
Yeah,
too
I
with
have to
equipment.
say,
Yeah.
last year's
Yeah.
days were not all snow days, they were ice days.
Right, yeah, the ice days, yeah. No.
Yeah.
And we can go back to how I've had family members that years and years ago, they did the town of Newcastle, and it was a pickup truck
Mhm.
with an 8-foot plow. That's how they, so, your service
Well,
levels.
that's what I
It was
remember.
cheaper, there was more snow and less equipment, so it's good old days.
I
Yeah.
know.
My grandfather used to plow Egypt Road once in a while with a D4 cat bulldozer when they didn't get to it. So, yeah, Josh will tell you a story. So, yeah. So, yeah, it'd be nice if it was the same or cheaper. I don't know.
Can we go back to those files?
Maybe I don't know.
I mean, in some ways, I mean, your price is driven by the performance standards that we understand the community wants to see. I mean, so talking about salt priority roads is very different than what
That's-
you did back then.
That is so
And that's why you
true.
see differences from town to town sometimes too. Folks will look at like, hey, I crossed the line into Damariscotta and it was so much, or vice versa.
Uh-huh.
And because you have to look at, it's not apples and apples. You have to look at
No.
which town has what performance
And we
standard.
all used to chain up in the old days and nobody chains up anymore. And you
yeah.
put on studded snow tires. No
Mhm.
one does that anymore.
We all want to drive just as fast as we can the second the snow hits.
Not me. I don't go
Oh,
out.
we gotta.
Just don't go out.
I know. All right, we have one item left, right? We have a license renewal, an entertainment license renewal for Oystead Pizza. I almost forgot about them.
Yes.
Yeah, and anybody have any questions on this? Is pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Just a renewal. Oh,
Yep.
okay. I'll make a motion to approve the entertainment license renewal for Oysterhead Pizza.
Yep. Second.
Andrew is going to second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Okay, that's it. Carries through. All right. Is that it? Did I miss any
No,
official actions? We're good there?
Main
Yep.
Municipal
that's it.
Association.
Yes, thank you, Tom. The MMA LPC Platform Development Survey.
Oh,
It's
we
your
didn't
last
do
two
that?
pages in the packet.
Yeah.
We don't need it right now.
Okay.
It's due the 16th of August. But they're just looking for feedback from municipalities about what their what kind of platform should be for the next 2-year legislative cycle.
So what are we interested in having them address?
Right.
Well, is it even appropriate to address what's happening with the fire departments?
Yeah, I was.
I very well might be.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, they are our representatives.
right. So yeah, MMA representing the municipalities, many of the municipalities in the state, look
Mhm.
for what challenges towns, or what things should they be advocating for new programs or changes in programs. And so they're looking for kind of bigger picture things, or very detailed things. If there's an issue with a law that's passed recently, and it's just, let's use the property tax stabilization program as an example. It was drafted, it was passed. There was some significant issues with some of the implementation and how, and frankly, what it would cost the state. That led to them pulling that back. And so they're an agency that works again solely to represent municipalities' interests, and that's what the LPC folks, this kind of guides them. The folks that'll be on the LPC will digest all of this and figure out, what makes sense
Nothing,
for the
yeah.
association
Yeah,
to work towards.
right.
So
Well, the fire thing definitely would be one item.
Seems to me that would be our number one. It's critical for a fire.
Yeah, safety, expense.
Yeah.
So is this something we're supposed to do individually or as a group?
No, group, I think.
yeah, they want, I think,
It's a
one
group effort.
'Cause
from
I
the
saw some
municipality.
Email from them too, to fill it out.
You
Well,
got
I
an email?
think this is a group effort for, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it comes from, it should be, even if it's not required, but the MMA is
Oh, you're right,
representing
yep.
municipal valleys in town, so they're looking for, some sort of unification, from, boards or whatnot from, so that they
Exactly.
know that, they're not getting a whole bunch of stuff from individuals and what do they do with that? So if the
Exactly.
town of Damariscotta, the select board says, hey, these are the whatever, one thing or two things or three things that we're concerned about, want you to look at. So yeah, we should probably take a little bit. It's due by the 16th.
16th.
Yeah, so maybe something in the next
So for our
we
next
can,
board meeting, or do we just send stuff to Andy? No, we
yeah,
should-
well, we
should
can,
just-
yeah, we
can
could,
do it
we'll
next
do a
time.
touch base. Maybe I'll I can coordinate an email or something like that. And because I'm inclined to say, yeah, right now, front and center is, we're talking about the OSHA ruling and stuff, and
Mhm.
where would MMA's where would their legislative committee fall into that? Is that a good place where I think it's a good thing to look into?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
So I would imagine, the discussion about statewide funding,
Mhm.
if there isn't going to be, if there wouldn't be federal funding, I mean,
Yeah.
whether it's funding availability or, dare I say that, conversations about, regionalization to some degree.
Right,
Which I know
right.
is
There
very
needs to be
hard
some,
discussion to have amongst
Yeah.
the fire departments. We
Yeah,
do-
but looking at John Roberts' comments, it's not necessarily just a funding thing.
No.
oh, yeah, there's huge
Huge
issues.
huge
with that.
staffing
So-
issues.
Ramifications.
So I think, yeah, we can all agree that's going to be an issue. So that's probably something that should be on there. So, yeah, why don't we,
That's number
why don't
one,
we regroup here in
definitely.
the next week here and have something put together for it.
I mean, I see that as number one.
Speaking of, the chief's letter, and we've all read it. I think he's, obviously probably the best one to send that out. How's the board? I mean, I think we'd all like to support that, and however he sends that to OSHA in a comment period. I mean, it would be
Mhm.
nice to attach a letter of support from the board.
It's been sent in the period, I believe is closed.
Oh, it has been sent.
Closed the 22nd. He submitted those.
Oh, he submitted already. Okay,
Submitted
it's already been submitted.
Yeah, he
Okay,
said
okay,
that.
gotcha.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
said that.
So,
Bless
yeah.
it, yeah.
Well, anybody listening from OSHA?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I thought it was, it wasn't closed yet, but he's already submitted it.
Told us
Okay.
that at the meeting.
Yeah, he did give us the comment period, but I had forgotten when it ended. All right.
He had worked through some edits through the weekend between him, and I didn't have many edits for him. I trusted him. I told him the board trusted what he would be putting
Yeah,
forward.
yeah.
But
Okay,
he
good
worked
enough.
with his officers to kind of fine tune some of that over the weekend and got it out Monday morning.
All right, that's fine, as long as they know, yeah, we
Do
do
the
support it,
22nd or
so
something.
if not in writing, but in spirit, so. And if there's anything else going forward that needs anything from the board, I think we can all step up and say, yeah, it affects everybody, he's done a good job of putting it together and laying out how it trickles down, so.
Well, that's just, I mean, the things he focused in on. I mean, there's a whole bunch, there's a 250-page document, I think.
He said it that we three of us were there, yeah,
This is a
and
compliment.
it took a while. He was talking about how long, I mean, it was a big document.
Mhm.
It's
And you had to
huge.
comb through it and then reference, it also references other documents. So, everybody's read through
He
a
did
federal
a really
federal
good, he
statute.
did a really
Right.
good job of looking at it and seeing what the
Yeah,
impact was.
digging into that minutia.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the proposed rule change document, I think was like 250 pages. If all the references he talks about, you go to NFPA manuals and
Yeah.
all of a sudden I don't know if it's 1,000, but
It's
it's hundreds of pages.
It's a lot.
Certainly.
It's a lot.
And
And
yeah,
dry.
you just kind of keep references, this references this, you just kind of keep
Yeah.
chasing them.
Go through statute after statute, and this statute references that statute, and holy moly,
Mhm.
almost like it's like written by a government entity, I don't know. All right, anything else snuck in at the end? Did we cover everything?
That's what I had for
Good.
prompt for the discussion.
Does anybody, Tom, anything we'll start out with you down the end here? Anything
No, I
bring up
don't
tonight?
have anything tonight, no.
All right, Tom's quiet. Dan?
I just want to know the score of the Little League in
Yeah.
Wyndham today.
Never end.
Yeah, text
Yeah.
Josh.
See if I can find out. So. Andrea? Huh?
Well, I have a little concern about, boy, when you go from Cross Street to Water Street to Rennie's parking lot, that corner is really dangerous. I see people, I've stood there before talking to Barbara, who lives right there.
Oh, yeah,
and
Barbara's
people
house, yeah.
just come out and they turn right and they don't even look when they're turning left with cars coming down. It is, I am really shocked that we have had no accidents
Is that
there.
coming out of the parking lot or coming off across the street?
Both.
Oh.
I mean, both ways. They don't slow down because there's no, I mean, the yield is they don't look the other way, whatever.
It's a
It's a
tricky
bad-
intersection to negotiate because it's offset. The parking lot comes out.
Yes.
Cross streets here, cross streets coming down, and it's a weird, so folks tend to make that turn. And they do swing out wide into the other lane sometimes, and occasionally there's a car parked on the in front of Gregory's, not in a parking spot, so that narrows it up. And to your point, the other day I met a boat hauler coming off of Water Street. And that surprised me. I don't know how he got it in there, but that was a tight turn. He came up onto Cross Street up by the bank, but that was an
One of the
interesting bit of an.
one of the
yeah.
problems is us being the oldest town in the country, because I was following somebody today going to the hospital. And this person, first of all, they changed their speed about 5 times between the Baptist church and the hospital, down to about 20 miles an hour, and then sped up. And then they went all the way into the left lane with a car coming over the hill just before the turn, didn't put their turn signal on, and then turned.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know,
Because they
this
think they
older-
have to swing out to
some
go in.
people's licenses should be taken away. That's what I'm saying.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, no.
Did you get
All
your
right.
license plate? Hope it wasn't me.
But yeah, so there's
Yeah.
just a yield coming out of the parking lot and the stop signs on Water Street as you approach Cross from
Yeah.
the end.
doesn't
But there's
help.
no yield or stop coming off across onto water.
No.
Fortunately, it's tight enough that everything is just very slow there usually, so it's
Boy, but the way they
coming through slow,
swing,
so.
they can swing and but I've never
do.
heard of accidents.
Is that what I mean? Yeah. It's fortunate that not that I recall. Yeah, so.
Into Cross Street,
Um,
because that's all broken up bad.
Oh my God, I
You
can't
know,
wait.
going
Stop
down
that road.
the
I
parking
can't
lot
wait
off
for that
Cross
parking lot to
Um,
get done.
Off of Water Street.
Off of Water Street,
Yeah, it'll go right up to the entrance of Water Street.
Okay.
The road coming out of the parking lot is a disaster. Oh my God, I can't wait for it.
We're getting there. We're getting there. So.
Slows them down for
The only thing I'll add to that, and I'm glad you brought it up, is just say everybody be careful. Traffic has been interesting,
terrific.
as it usually is. The parking lot negotiation's been interesting, going around there and stuff. So fortunately, there haven't been too many mishaps, but it's
But the
it's
ambassador, I've met
busy.
her a few times and she's doing a.
They
good
both
job.
have. They're both doing a great job. I see them every day, Monday through Saturday. Well,
Yeah.
when I'm in town, but they're there Monday through Saturday. And Laura and Kanan. Yeah.
Cannon.
Sorry, that's what. They put a lot of miles on.
They're
They're
pleasant
Yeah, they
and
really do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, they're doing a good job.
I think that is a great.
Yep. I asked one the other day if they thought they'd do it again, and I didn't get a definitive answer. I won't. But they're doing a good job. But anyway, yeah, everybody be careful out there. A lot of traffic.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to add.
So-
So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if somebody wants to throw it out there.
Yes. Second. Oh,
Well, I didn't make it. I was gonna let you do it.
I'll
Yeah.
make a
Motion to
motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Right.
Too, Dan.
Andrea, you seconded. All those in favor of that motion? Yeah, Tom's gonna stay here.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. We're good. We still have